It had to start with how I became a businesswoman because I was in a place where I was uncomfortable. Like I've always wanted to be a lawyer, but then things happened and I couldn't be a lawyer. So I decided to do something else that I enjoyed just because I couldn't do what I wanted.
Mamma mia, it's the e-hop show. My, how can I resist it? Mamma mia, it's the e-hop show. My, how can I resist it?
Ladies and gentlemen, greetings from the eHub. We are so excited today to be celebrating Women's Month, which is the month of August. Women should actually be celebrated more often, I think. You would think the same as well. Well, look, we will settle for just once a year. 1 month in a year is okay. Ladies and gentlemen, in celebration of this month and entrepreneurship, we brought in a powerhouse who is in business, doing great things, who goes by the name of Trish Hakata. I'm not going to talk much about what she does, who she is, and what she's about, because, well, a woman must always have her own voice. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Trish Hakata to the stage. Trish, how are you doing?
Good, thanks. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for honoring our invite and coming through. It is a complete pleasure for me to have this beautiful conversation with you. So first of all, tell us, who are you? What are you about? What are you doing?
Well, I'm a social entrepreneur. I love to describe myself as a social entrepreneur because with everything that I do, I look at the community and how it's benefiting the community. And I'm a civic leader and also I'm a farmer. So I love agribusiness. I love, the byproducts. I just love how you can take agriculture and then make it into the food industry, make it into the wine industry, different industries just from agriculture.
Sure, that's amazing. And of course, food is life. And that's where really everything begins, right? We cannot make it without it. So you are an essential citizen, isn't it?
Very true.
So just take me through what it truly is being a woman in business. What are the challenges that you have faced, and what are some of the advantages that you felt, well, I got that because actually I'm a woman, but that did not work because I'm a woman. What are those challenges? What are those great parts of, being in the journey as a woman?
So for me personally, it had to start with how I became a businesswoman because I was in a place where I was uncomfortable. Like I've always wanted to be a lawyer, but then things happened and I couldn't be a lawyer. So I decided to do something else that I enjoyed just because I couldn't do what I wanted. So at first it was just for fun, but then after I realized that, I could actually start earning money and also empower others as I employ them, I started focusing more on how I can be a better entrepreneur. So as a woman in entrepreneurship, it's bittersweet. I won't lie. It's sometimes it's really great because you've got this financial freedom, you've got the power to empower other people, and you have control over your time and what you do with it. But it also comes with a lot of responsibilities and also a lot of challenges and struggles. Like probably as a woman, you have a lot of responsibilities as a woman. You need to be a mother to someone, you need to be a daughter to someone, you need to be a wife, you need to be a lot of things as a woman. And there are a lot of expectations, you know what I mean? But then you also have a business to run. And whenever you're having a bad day as a woman, people who then equate it to, oh, she's acting a sort of way because she's a woman. Women can't really get hold of their emotions. Yet it is one of the greatest things that makes us very good entrepreneurs because we've got a heart and we know how to relate with our workers, we know how to empathize. So those are some of the challenges. And another challenge is that as a female entrepreneur, there is something that is at the back of your mind, like when you're in a male-dominated field where you just feel like, maybe because I'm a woman, I didn't get this. Maybe because I'm a woman, they didn't really take up my idea. You know what I mean? Even when it comes to funding, if you go somewhere and there's a guy who's speaking about this idea, most of the times people want to listen to him more, even other women. So it's bittersweet, like I said. But most of the time, it's a process where you get to grow. That's the most important thing, that you get to grow, you get to learn, and you get to, understand yourself as a leader, understand yourself as an entrepreneur, business person. So that's the most rewarding part for me, I guess.
Amazing, amazing. And thanks for sharing that from your heart, Trish. Now, I just want us to move to some of the pitfalls that aspiring female entrepreneurs should be aware of and should actually avoid. What would you say, 1, 2, 3, is something that you need to look out for and try and avoid by all means if you want to be successful woman entrepreneur?
So what I can say is the first thing is maybe neglecting self-reflection. Like I said, self-reflection is very, very important when you're in business as a woman, because you have to continuously ask yourselves questions like, okay, who am I? What are my core values? Am I doing things according to my values? What have I done that has taken me away from my major goal? And where am I going? How do I get there? Where have I come? How far have I come so far? And also, how can I keep on improving? So you need to go through a process of doing that each and every time, because sometimes things get so hard, you get so overwhelmed, and you lose sight of what's really important when you're in business. So when you keep yourself grounded all the time and you take time to reconnect with your purpose, the reason why you went into business in the first place, it will actually work better for you. I know for me, during this lockdown, I was having trouble with keeping focused. I was having trouble getting things together. Then I had to sit down and start to reflect. Okay, what was my goal? How do I adapt to the situation? How do I ensure that people who are under me or who work for me can also go through the same process and come out stronger? So you need to go through a process of doing that, and that's very important. And second of all, you need to not put yourself in a box. I know sometimes, in life, people want to box you. Okay, you're a female entrepreneur, or you're a baker, or you're this, or you're this. But I would want to advise women that, you can be whatever you want to be. Because I believe in God. I'm a Christian, and I believe that He is the only being that knows what He puts in you. So never limit yourself. People have this idea of entrepreneurship or business or how you should run it, or etc., etc. But I feel like as a women, we have so much power. We have so much that we can do. I remember for me, it was very difficult when I was getting into business, because I loved a lot of things. I loved, community work, but I wanted to do business that also relates to that. But I also loved food. You know what I mean? And I realized that it was a bit hard sometimes when people ask me what I'm doing, and I'm like, oh, I love this. Oh, I'm a farmer, and I also run a mobile kitchen, and I run an organization called Go-Getter movement that does this. And it was very difficult for other people to understand. And I was very stressed about it for the longest time. Then I spoke to a coach of mine, and I told him about it, and he said that, you know what? The problem is that you want to be like everybody else, yet you're not. You're a businesswoman, you're an entrepreneur, and your mind is forever active. So look at your strengths, right? You have certain strengths. So focus on that and push on projects that magnify your strengths. And about your weaknesses, work hard on them, but don't let them get you down. So one of those weaknesses was because I was boxing myself. So I had to get out of that and just tell myself that, you know what, I'm a Christian, I believe this. If God, didn't want me to do this, He wouldn't have put the idea in my head. So trust your intuition, and if you feel strongly about something, go for it. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise.
Sure, that is a mouthful right there. And I love the fact that you mentioned not boxing yourself, because quite often we get to life and we are told this is how it works, these are the colors you need to play within, but actually there's many versions of gray in between, and we keep missing it because of that box either black or white. So happy to hear you say that, and I'm excited that more and more women are realizing it and rising up and doing great things. So thank you for sharing that. Now, Trish, my next question is around just centering yourself. You know, it is tough, COVID-19, business, life has to carry on. Circumstances don't always have a line up. How do you center yourself? How do you get yourself to a space where you are at peace, even though things are not doing so great?
So what I do is I self-reflect a lot. So whenever I feel like I'm feeling a certain way, or I'm feeling down, or I'm feeling like I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, because I feel like that. And that's one of the challenges of being a businesswoman, that people expect you to have everything together. You know, they expect you to have all the answers, which is not correct, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes when I feel that way, I just sit down, I go through all my journals. I've got journals, but this is the one that I created. This is one of my products. So I go through it, I look at, you know, what I've written, my goals, everything, and I try to reconnect to my purpose, reconnect to my vision, and ensuring that I don't lose sight of it. Then after I do that, I look at, you know, what's happening around me, how it's actually helping me to achieve what I'm achieving, but probably not in the way that I had envisioned, which is okay, because sometimes the road to where you're going can change, but the destination never does. So I do that, I reflect. And another thing that I do is I speak to my mentors. So like I said, it was hard for me being in business and sharing with people when I have struggles, because people will be like, no, you know, it doesn't suit you for you to be like this. And I'm like, okay, I'm never going to share anything with anyone again. But I realized that I had to look for people who I could talk to, like my mentors. So I've got a spiritual mentor, I've got a business mentor, I've got a personal growth mentor, and I've got a peer mentor. So depending on how I'm feeling that day and the challenge that I'm facing, I talk to someone and I share with them, you know, this is what I'm going through. What do you think I should do? And they tell me, because I don't know everything. You know what I mean? So I do that a lot. I speak to people, and most importantly, I own my mistakes. When I've done something, I own it. I say, okay, Trish, you're a human, you did this. It's bad, you know, it took you backwards, but what can we do to move forward? How can you improve from this? How do you learn? So consciously learning all the time and reflecting, and also talking to people who I trust with, you know, my baggage.
Wow, talking to people you trust, reflecting, amazing lesson there. Thank you so much for sharing. And lastly, I just want you to give an advice to women out there. It's Women's Month we're celebrating. They may or may not be in business. What is it that you would want them to take away in this year and almost just have it as a lesson or something to do as they go forward as women in this world?
Okay. So last year I was in Kenya for a conference, Shape Africa, and they were talking about some of the challenges that women in business face, you know, things to do with the funding, things to do with education, or, you know, financial literacy. And from there, even though they were talking about these huge challenges, which are very true, from there I realized that there's one thing a woman can really do for herself, for her to overcome all those challenges, and that's focusing on her, you know. And I realized that even before you decide to start a project or start a business, you need to start with project self. Look at you, you know, work on you, work on your strengths, look at, you know, how you can improve, look at, you know, who you are, get to know you first, you know what I mean? Self-reflection, self-awareness, everything has to start with the self. So I'd like to encourage women out there that, you know what, even self-confidence, sometimes, you know, it just takes a dose of self-confidence for you to do whatever you want to do. If you just believe in yourself too much, work on yourself too much, work on educating yourself on how you can be better, educating yourself on how you can make your community better, you see that even if someone comes to you and says, you know what, woman, you are not enough, or you're not worthy, you won't believe them, because you know who you are, and you see yourself through the eyes of the one who created you, and through the eyes of yourself, because you would have gone through that whole process of, improving yourself and working on your self-confidence and self-worth.
Sure. I wish I had an hour with you. The stuff you're saying, the wisdom you're just giving us today is really amazing. And you mentioned something I really believe in: build yourself up inside first, because then nothing from the outside can break you. But sadly, that is where we end our interview with Trish Hakata, and we have managed to learn quite a lot from her, and we are grateful. Women, this is your time. We celebrate you. You're special. You can do it. Take these lessons, move forward, make the best of it. From us, the eHub, this is it. Enjoy.
Tumjenge Afrika, levie de Afrique, levetando a Afrika, tusimudzira Afrika, siparamisa I Afrika.